Your S&M fetish has an ancient origin story. Ever wonder why so many human relationships are caught in power struggles, domination, submission? Yes, sadomasochism. Well, the roots go deeper than psychology. They're historic and they're mythic. They stretch all the way back to the moment when humanity shifted from matriarchy to patriarchy in 6500 BC. See, for most of human history, people lived in what Jeffrey Wolf Green calls the original matriarchy. This wasn't about women ruling men. It was about natural law. Life was organized around Earth's rhythms. Women were revered as sacred because they held the great mystery of birth. And for ages, people didn't connect men's role in conception. So the ability of women to bleed, not die, and create life, that was seen as miraculous. The great mother goddesses, Isis, Gaia, they embodied that reverence. And children, they were raised by the tribe. They were seen as gifts from the divine for the collective. But eventually men did realize that their seed was part of the process, and with that knowledge, the balance tilted. The mystery wasn't centered on the feminine alone anymore, and instead of sharing power, patriarchal cultures rose and began to claim it, and they did so violently. Once men realized that they played a role in procreation, they wanted to own their offsprings, then the women who bore their offsprings, and then basically everything. And things like agricultural surpluses, the rise of property, and the idea of inheritance, that made it advantageous for men to control women's sexuality. The myths tell the story. Gaia subordinated to Zeus. Isis was eclipsed. The Earth Mothers were dethroned and replaced by Sky Fathers wielding thunderbolts. The culture of reciprocity gave way to hierarchy. And this is where the pathology took root. Patriarchy rewired intimacy itself. Relationships became about power, not a mutual respect for divine order. Men were conditioned to dominate. Women were cast as inferior. Sexuality itself was fused with fear. Pleasure tangled with punishment. Desire got chained to repression. And this was the birth of sadomasochism. It's not just a kink. It's a collective wound that's carved into our psyches. And since the 1960s, Uranus and Neptune have really been shaking this up. Jeffrey Wolf Green talks about this in his Pluto Volume 2 book. The intent of this whole era is to dissolve patriarchal programming, to strip away the beliefs that equate love with domination and gender with hierarchy. Nature itself is rising again, and it's the true teacher. Now, we're living through the death of the patriarchy right now. And yeah, I know it's a long dying process. But every upheaval around gender, sexuality, that's all part of this collective psychic detox. And the medicine, that's remembering the balance, the original balance that matriarchy held. Natural law, mutual respect, love without hierarchy. So what do you think? Can we heal this wound? Can love finally step out from under thousands of years of domination and fear? Drop your reflections in the comments. Let's rewrite the story together.